blessings. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a special guest with me who is my dad.
Hey everybody.
So, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I am Waysun Johnny Tsai. I am the founder of the C.U.M.A Survival School here in Chicagoland, and I'm with my beautiful daughter on her YouTube channel to talk about the contents of a good bug out bag. So we have a lot of stuff on the table. We're going to hold things up as we describe what they are, so you can have a good idea of what you should carry and the type of gear that you should have in these days where anything can go wrong. The quantity of bags you should have, where you should keep them, and types of plans you should make for you and your family to make sure that wherever you are, you can stay safe or get out alive.
Why exactly is it important to have a go bag?
Well,
what kind of events could happen where you'd be in a situation that you need a go bag?
Civil unrest, your house can catch on fire, right? So, you should have, should have a bag ready to go at home that's got copies of important documents, your medications, your refills, your scripts, your medicines, so that if your house catches fire, you can grab your stuff and go, right? Any situation where that you need to get up and go, right now, you see a lot of people raiding all the Walmarts, and not raiding, but, buying out, the Walmarts and the Costco's. They're low on medications, and hand sanitizers are backed up from manufacturers across the country. And people are buying these little medical masks for coronavirus. Doctors everywhere are telling you that's not going to stop the virus. I mean, that may stop someone from spitting on you, but it's not going to stop the airborne virus from getting to you, which is basically a flu. But it's better to have something than nothing.
Okay. All right, let's look at what we have on the table.
All right, so when it comes to survival, there's 4 basic things that you're always going to need. That's food, water, fire, and shelter, or the ability to produce these items. Of course, you want to be able to keep water bottles handy, a couple bottles to get you through the day. You don't want your bag to be so heavy to where that you can't carry it or run if you need to. So if you're one of those people that have an 80, 90 pound rucksack, unless you're 6'5" and have military experience and used to running with 90 pounds of gear in your back, that's going to be a bad idea. You want to be able to move quickly and efficiently, and most importantly, don't make yourself a target. So if you look like you're carrying everything that you need on you to keep someone else alive, there's a good chance they might come for your gear. So water is a thing that's very important. You can go 3 minutes without air, basically 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And there might be people that can test these. This is a basic rule. If you don't drink water for at least every day or 3 days, you're gonna get headaches, you're gonna get slow, it's gonna be hard to think, hard to function, hard to move in a survival situation. So I have water, I have ways to pack and carry more water, canteen. I have different water filters, a water pump, emergency water filters.
And I have a life straw.
She's got a life straw, which works really, really good.
So what you do, if you find a river or stream or something, all you gotta do is put this bottom part in there and then suck through the straw right here, and it'll purify the water before
It'll take out 99.9% of most contaminants. So you don't have to carry all of them, but I do recommend maybe keeping an emergency water filter in your trunk, in your car, in your office. Again, you're gonna have multiple go bags. So that's water. Food. You can carry bags of granola or things that last a long time. These are MREs. MREs are basically meals ready to eat. They're also meals most people hate, but this is chili and macaroni. There's vegetarian versions with crackers, salt, pepper, marinara. These will last a good 20 years, right? Well, these will last about 5, but 5 to 20 for dehydrated foods. But so these are MREs. These are something good to have. Now this is what I'm showing you, something you should carry for each person in your family. So if you have 4 members in your family, you want to multiply it by 4. If you have 6 members in your family, multiply it by 6. If you're keeping supplies like water at your home or food at your home, you're keeping 6 months worth of supplies. Like right now, there's a coronavirus. Everyone's stocking up with food, water, supplies. Keep extra supplies, because remember, your in-laws, your family, your wife's sister and her kids may come over. Now, a lot of people in survival will say, well, they're going to have to bring something. Well, they may be in a position where they can't. So unless you're about to sit there and tell your wife that her mom can't eat, have some extra food, extra water, extra supplies. So that's your food and water. Next is fire. There's a lot of ways to create fire. The easiest way is with a Bic lighter, okay? So if you, for whatever reason, you have 2 Bic lighters and they're both out, they don't work, and you want to start using ferro rods, ferrocerium rods, you can strike rods and create a spark, or matches. Things to use as tinder for fire, so maybe cotton balls soaked in Vaseline is one way.
Hand sanitizer.
Hand
Anything with alcohol in it is very flammable.
Hand sanitizer will get your fire going. There are little kits like Uber Fire, Live Fire, or even Fire Cord, which are pre-made tinders that'll help you get a fire going when it's wet out or it's hard out. Both Uber Fire and Live Fire will burn wet, so that's really important. Paracord is something you see a lot of people carry nowadays. Fire cord is an 8-strand paracord. Most 550 paracord has 7 strands. Fire cord has an 8th coated red strand in the middle that you have to scrape it off, but it's got an oil base to it or a chemical in it that ignites with a spark. So look up fire cord, Uber Fire, jute cord. You can get jute from Menards. It's very cheap, $1 a roll or so. That's good tinder. You can utilize an empty bird's nest if you find one, or maybe even lint from your dryer. There's many ways. Here's dryer lint. Dryer lint goes up really fast, right?
Really fast.
Now the important thing when you're making a fire is that you not just have your tinder, but you have your wood, because your tinder is going to go up, and then you want to have your twigs and your firewood ready to go, whatever it is that you're going to burn. So we have food, water, fire, shelter. If you can't have a tent, I mean, a very good vehicle, a very good shelter is your vehicle. Stay in it. You know, a car does become a refrigerator, but if it's dead smack in the middle of winter, but if it's not really freezing out, use it. Use it as your shelter. Some people utilize trash bags. You know, you can use it as a improvised poncho. You can open them up, create shelters, use them to gather water. These are contractor bags, they're very thick. Speaking of ponchos, you always want to keep a rain poncho or something that's going to keep you dry, to keep you away from hypothermia. Hyper or hypothermia. You don't want to be too hot or too cold. Extra clothing, t-shirts, socks, and underwear. Your socks, underwear, t-shirt gets wet. And it, again, you're going to get, you could freeze to death, right? So you don't want to get hyper or hypothermia, too hot or too cold. Survival candles, something you can use when you're light. But, I have flashlights. You don't have to have a fancy, expensive flashlight. You can usually find something online. There's a wind-up as a backup. Always keep spare batteries with you. If you're going to eat, you need some kind of spoons. You can get a spork, or you can find these pretty cheap. These are little camping knife, fork sets, spoon sets. They fold out. Hand sanitizer, again, right now with this epidemic that we're facing from the virus, you want to make sure that keep hand sanitizer, keep yourself clean, keep yourself covered when you're around people coughing. Naya here has a little slingshot. All right, it's nothing fancy, but it is a slingshot. Slingshots can be used good for game. People talk about self-defense. I don't really, unless you have really high tech with a powerful slingshot. I don't recommend you try and use a slingshot for self-defense, but for hunting small game, rabbit, bird, things like that. Processing food or shelter. If you're camping, you want a good survival blade. You want to have a couple blades, right? 2 is one is none. These are, like, say this is the C.U.M.A Monster Cleaver. It's a chopper. You can run a string, a fishing line through it, and actually use it as improvised fishing rod. You can open bottles with it. You can chop. You can, if you're shaving, doing pull strokes with it, you can. You can pry, you can chop, and build shelters. Here's another one, the C.U.M.A Tackray. Right, this is another one that's got a little curve to the blade. Again, you do draw strokes with it. You can chop, you can build a shelter. These are big blades. You want to keep a big blade like this, a good chop blade instead of a chopper, so you can replace an axe, and then keep something smaller on you for finer work that you may need to do, or finer food prep, things like that, so you could have more control. One thing that I would recommend everybody have is a multi-tool. And multi-tools, here's a Gerber multi-tool. This is going to give you a lot of things. It's going to give you saws, it's going to give you, some have scissors and tweezers, it's going to give you a small knife on you. A lot of people go camping with just a chopper and a multi-tool. So, I mean, a good solid multi-tool can save your life. They vary from anywhere from $10, $15 to $100 and up. When it comes to your knife, when it comes to your water filter, when it comes to your multi-tool, the things that are going to keep you alive, don't go cheap, right? Don't find yourself a big chopping knife for $10 or less to find it to break on you, or a multi-tool that locks up and doesn't work. You don't have, don't look for the cheapest sliders. This is my opinion and my advice. You don't have to buy hundreds of dollars in your go bag all at once. Walmart's, Targets, find stores that have clearance items and pick them up. Go to the camping section, buy things as you go along. The important thing to do is test your gear, use your gear, practice with your gear, because you may have to live with your gear. If you pull out your multi-tool and you've never used it before, or you've never tested out your fire starters, and or maybe even having first aid, and you go in your bag and you find out that your meds are expired, right? Expired medications can give you the worst stomach ache and cramp and immobilize you in a situation where you need to be extremely mobile. So that's it about gear. Naya, do you have any questions?
I don't know. You just stole the show. I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Here's what. Go ahead.
I do have a question. Yeah, what can mirrors or sunglasses be used for?
Signaling, right? So 2 things they can be used for is signaling if you want to be found, right? So a little survival mirror can work, or you can use it for fire starting by reflecting light off of the sun, and you can maybe start a fire with it. Sunlight in a plastic bottle can purify water. If you leave a plastic bottle out in the sun for a day, it'll kill all the bacteria, direct sunlight within that bottle. It may not taste great, but it will kill the bacteria. So those UV rays will be your friend when it comes to killing bacteria or starting a fire. But you want ponchos, protective hats, sunglasses, things to protect your skin from those UV rays. So it's very important that as it gets hot out, that you're not dehydrating and you're not super hot. So I like to keep a hoodie, that keeps me, it may seem warm, but it also just keeps me out of direct sunlight.
I keep my scarf.
Yeah, she keeps her scarf. Pockets are important. So Naya's got a little vest. It's a little, she's had this vest forever. It's from Gander Mountain. It's got pockets on it. I'm surprised it still fits her.
It's in a men's small.
It has pockets, so if you can get clothing that can carry pockets, that's great. Now, how many go bags should you have? You should have a go bag by your front closet, your vehicle, your office, at work. Carry a little bit of gear, maybe not as much, but something on you at any given time. and maybe keep some at a friend's house, or your a family member's home, a place that you can get to. If you can't get home, you have gear somewhere else. Someone that you trust, it's not going to take your gear on you. But a go bag can go into hundreds of dollars. There are pre-packaged bug out bags and go bags or get out bags that you can buy on the internet for $100, $200, $300, $400. A lot of them are pre-packed with some really good gear, but a lot of them have filler and garbage in it. So it's better to build your own. And there are plenty of lists that you can find online for free on YouTube, or even in this video, just go back and look for items. You can leave comments in Naya's YouTube video asking her questions for advice of what to get. Here's a gas mask, which is a simple gas mask you get from any Army surplus or an eBay.
No, we're not saying go walk around the streets wearing this gas mask. That's not what we're saying.
If an epidemic breaks out, it's best to not breathe in contaminants. So it's not bad to have one. It's better to always be prepared, because if you're not always prepared, you're never prepared. Any other questions, Diane?
No, I haven't put this on in years.
Yeah, there's my princess prepper.
All right. So before we pack our go bags back up, I do have a question for my father. So growing up, we were in a survival school, your survival school.
Yep.
Can you just go into more detail about your survival school?
So the C.U.M.A Survival School started out initially as, my martial arts school, but I learned that martial arts is just a very small part of survival. A guy named Ron Hood put it best. He was a friend and one of the first to really be known for doing anything with survival. Is survival, it's all in your head. And so it's all about your mindset, about knowing that you need to get out alive. So I started researching things outside of survival, whether it's gear, weaponry, and taking my kids out with classes. I used to have classes every Saturday with them and take the kids out to the woods, and we would do build fires, we would build debris shelters, we would they'd eat out in the woods, we would do some tracking, we would learn how to hide our tracks, we would learn how to leave breadcrumb trails and do survival signaling, how to navigate, a little bit of navigation with the kids, I used to teach them how to purify water. What else?
I remember one of my favorite parts, we would start fires and then we would boil some water and cook some food.
Yeah. So I would teach them how to build a fire, build a shelter. The first thing we do is go out, they'd build a shelter. Then they'd build their fire. And then I'd have them purify water and cook foods and eat out in the woods. And to me, that was really important to teach them a little bit of self-reliance. So if, God forbid, they're ever in a place on vacation and there's a tsunami or a hurricane or a flood or an earthquake, which all these things are happening all around the world right now, and they're stuck somewhere, they'll have some basic skills that can get them out alive. You generally have 72 hours for help to find you. After that, you're on your own. So you want to have gear to get you through those first 72 hours, a little bit of creature comfort, a book. If you have a child with you, put a toy in your bag, their favorite action figure or a copy of their favorite action figure or something that's going to keep everyone busy. If you have cell phones, don't drain them on YouTube or music unless you have a solar pack to keep them charged. You may need those for emergency communications. It's important that you have a compass on you. You can have a compass on your watch. You can have a compass. Here's a little button compass. You can put on your bag, on your keychain, in your vehicle. But always have a compass. If you don't have a compass, you should learn how to be able to tell time by the sun. And you can do instructional videos are on learning how to tell time off of sundials are on YouTube. So you could do that as well. Any other questions, Naya?
No. when the weather gets warm again, we're gonna go outside and we're gonna show you guys how to start fires and build shelters. But for now, that's it.
Normally, my survival courses on a weekend, I'll take a group of people out and they have to pay for class. So this is what I will do and offer for my daughter and for her friends. For the first 15 people that Naya knows that can commit to coming to a class on a weekend at the woods, I'll do for free for your group of friends, for the followers of her channel. So I'll do a 15-person class for free. It will be a 6-hour course that I'll do just to help her and her viewers and followers out, to make sure that you guys have a little bit of knowledge that you can take to help you or your loved ones stay alive.
Aww, that's so sweet. Are you ready to pack them back up?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just my mini go bag. This is the one I can sling over my shoulder, just go whenever I need to. I'm gonna pack this one up first. Put my poncho at the bottom.
The important thing is keep the things that you know you're gonna need accessible, right? So things like your MREs, that can go on the bottom of your bag, in a bag. You can pack that in the back because you can wait to eat. Things like water, keep a bottle of water accessible in case you need to sip it. Make sure that you portion, your food and drinking supplies. Don't eat the way you would normally eat at a birthday party and pig out, right? So try to ration your water. Try to ration your food and your supplies.
Do you need some water?
Seems like I need some water.
One of the other really cool things that I have, you guys, is this saw. I've had this for a long time.
It's a straight emergency saw.
So if you're gonna start a fire and you just need little twigs or whatever, but it's too hard for you to pull off, all you gotta do is pull this out and just saw it right off.
Or use a big knife and just chop it off. But it's up to you. If you don't have a big blade, you can use some kind of a saw. It's always good to have duplicates of items that you're going to need, as long as you can carry it. Again, 2 is 1, 1 is none. And what that rule means is if you lose your tools, or break a tool, you have a spare and a backup. If you don't have a backup and you break your only tool, you can be in a lot of trouble. If you're gonna consider or live by the woods, if you're gonna live by the woods or go into the woods, you could always find some kind of bug spray, insect repellent.
Insect repellent, you need that.
And you can always find it on clearance, on end caps and box stores at the end of the season. There's natural items that you can use. Yes, there are natural plants you can use as natural bug repellents, but if you're in an area where those plants, particular plants aren't available, and there's just a lot of bugs, the last thing you want to be is miserable, because the more miserable you are, your mindset starts to sink, and depression kicks in, and despair kicks in, and your willingness and your will to fight goes away, right? So you want to make sure that you have skills to go without supplies, but start with whatever supplies you can carry. That's very, very vital. And you can check your teeth with this.
Why can it be useful to carry goggles?
Swimming goggles?
For fires, you guys. If there's a fire and there's a lot of smoke, put these goggles on and your eyes will not burn. And to go swimming and fishing, I guess.
I wasn't expecting that.
So here are my matches.
Again, the important thing is to test your gear. Make sure that it's all up to date, nothing's expired, and it all works. There's always going to be a chance that you can find gear for cheap Cheap on clearance can be good. Cheap before clearance might just be garbage. And the last thing you want is garbage gear when you're trying to keep your loved ones alive or yourself. Because if you die, there's nothing you can do to help your family.
Well, you heard it best from my father, right? Okay. Oh, good idea to put it there then.
I think would be kind of cool is in the comments of Naya's video, if anyone has a question that comes up, just post it. And if I see it, I'll try to reply, or Naya can reply. The important thing is remember that something can always happen to you. I hear it all the time. People go, oh yeah, that never happens over here. That'll never happen to me. It only happens to someone else. Well, guess what? You're my someone else, and I'm your someone else. And so, if I say it only happens to someone else, it means it can happen to you. So, it's really important that you practice skills, and if you're a parent, teach your kids some of these skills. Don't neglect them by not showing them ways to stay alive when you're not around. It's really important to know that your kids can handle situations, worst case scenarios, mom and dad aren't there for them, or they may need to be able to practice CPR on mom or dad in a situation and save you. So CPR classes are important. One of the first type of classes both of my kids took was swimming. Swimming classes are very important. They're both strong swimmers. That's very important to me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's in your mind, mindset, tactics, then gear. Mindset, tactics, and gear. Mindset, your tactics, and then your gear. If you don't have tactics, your gear is worthless. If your mindset isn't there, everything else is worthless. My friend James Yeager, that's his saying: mindset, tactics, and gear. Then gear.
So, I'm sure you guys can tell that my dad is a professional at this. Daddy, do you still have your own YouTube channel?
I do. I haven't put any videos up in a while. I have a new camera back here that it's 4K high definition camera that I'm about to relaunch some videos. So I am going to get that up again soon. But if you look up Waysun Johnny Tsai or C.U.M.A Survival School on YouTube, there's still over 100 videos on there. They're just a couple years old. Yep.
So, that's that. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I pray that you've learned something and taken something away from this video. And I also hope that 15 of you guys will reach out in the comments. So you can go to a survival class with me and my father. Is there anything else you want to say?
Again, a free class. I normally charge $150 per person for this class. It's free for Naya's friends and for the followers based off of this video. It would be probably late April, early May in DuPage by the DuPage West or West DuPage Forest Preserves off of Route 59 by West Chicago. There's some woods over there. I'd be happy to take you guys out, get off the trail, get you guys building some shelters, some fire, filter out some water, and eat out in the woods, and leave you out there for Sasquatch.
All right, you guys, I'm going to link his channel below. And until next time.
Bye.
All right, you guys, there was one other thing that I did forget to mention. I have a couple extra bags, so I will be packaging some bags to give to some homeless people around Chicago. So they're gonna have the basic things like food, water, mattress, maybe some clothes, something to help start a fire like some tinder, but some basic supplies. So all right, so I have about 7 bags just like this, and inside them I'm gonna put water, something to write with, a scarf or some gloves or a blanket, some trash bags, a lanyard just in case they want to carry something around their neck, a ruler, a final call newspaper, and I'm gonna add some food when I get to where I'm going because I don't have any food on me right now. But I'll check back in with you guys once I finish packaging all these up. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and for the go bags that I am giving to the homeless, I also added a roll of tissue paper, a facial tissue package, applesauce, toothbrush, toothpaste, something warm, pretzels, and a couple of other things to each bag. Remember to always give back from what you've been given. It's always great to help those that are less fortunate than yourselves. And when you give back for the right reasons and not a selfish benefit, God will bless you. So always keep that in mind. Okay, I know this video is already super long, but this is actually an article that was written many years ago on one of his survival classes. And this is one of the pictures from it. And this is a picture of me building a fire.